Live country music blared from our small TV while I tried to finish a college paper. The sound of my fingers hitting each key faded into the background as the Country Music Award performers sang. My paper's midnight deadline inched closer and closer. Now let's take a look at our next special award winner. She made Country Music Awards history at a very young age. I did a whole 360 in the office chair and anticipated the name, Taylor Swift. I sound like a crazy T-Swift fan. I assure you, I am just a normal fan. After a short video on all of Swift's accomplishments, her mother took the stage and gave a beautiful speech. The longer her mother spoke, the more fixated and attuned I became towards the TV. I'd never been so captivated and inspired while watching the CMAs. I still remember the country star's mother talking about Taylor's determination to follow her dreams. Miss Swift's perseverance led her and her family all the way to Nashville. Taylor and her parents left their serene Christmas tree farm, friends, and everything familiar in Pennsylvania to chase the unknown and uncertain. After hearing this, my mind spun 360 degrees. A few months before this, my parents decided that leaving our home in Michigan to join my dad in Illinois would be the best move for our family. For the past year, my dad had been working as a temporary pastor at a small church in Belvidere, Illinois. This position was supposed to be a paid one-year internship, but my dad changed his mind about the temporary part. When they told me the big news, shock took over. As soon as the paralyzing disturbance wore off, I whined to my parents. You too want us to just leave everything we know here in Michigan this September? That is less than a year away. Okay, wait. Mom and Dad, don't you care about my life here? Don't you care that my good friends are here in Michigan? Don't you care that I'm only one step away from starting my teaching career? If you guys actually follow through with this, I'm not moving with you. I'll figure something out. My dad didn't show it, but I could sense my rebellion upset him. On the other hand, a stranger would have been able to detect my mother's broken heart. A whole blender of emotions mixed in my brain and heart. I hated bringing sadness to my parents, but my anger dominated my being. I felt frustration towards my mom because she wouldn't even try to empathize with me. The Great Lakes State had been my home for almost 14 years. I was finally going to start the elementary education program at Oakland University in the fall. I had gotten even more invested in our local church, and I was surrounded with great friends. I'm way too invested and comfortable to leave now, and my parents don't even seem to care. This irritation motivated me to make a stay in Michigan plan. Maybe I could live with my older sister and brother-in-law until I save up enough money for my own apartment or a room with my best friends. But after thinking through it more and more, holes started to appear in my plans. My stubborn attitude became so strong that I actually considered taking a break from school so I could work more to afford my own place. But this would have pushed back my teaching career even later. I became the perfect picture of pity and desperation. Looking back, I realize now that this desperation stemmed from my deep-rooted fear. Leaving everything I knew frightened me. Comfort, my dear friend, held me hostage. I refused to kiss my beloved familiarity goodbye. Everything I knew and loved resided in Michigan. Or at least I thought. If I somehow had the chance to go back in time and tell myself the Country Music Awards is going to change my stubborn decision to stay, I would merely laugh. I had only 2 hours till the deadline, but I couldn't sit and write about the Industrial Revolution while a major revolution occurred in my mind. Once Taylor's mom left the stage, I left the computer and bolted to my room. Sitting on the old wobbly bunk bed my sister and I had shared for 14 years, excited and anxious thoughts shot around my brain like sugar-high children on a trampoline. I weighed the pros and cons between moving and staying. Okay, don't get ahead of yourself, Kaylee. Let's think logically. Should I move to Illinois with my family? The church's worship team finally accepted you, Dumbo. For 2 years you have been practicing and working diligently on chords to get to this point. You're just going to throw all of this hard work and priceless time away, I felt like Gollum from the Lord of the Rings trilogy, trying to talk myself out of something good. Gollum, fortunately, had his positive and sweet personality, Smeagol, to counter the pessimistic thoughts. Thank goodness my Smeagol side chimed in. If I moved, I would get to lead worship at my dad's church. Because of the move and the timing, I would have to take a break from school in the fall semester. This would put me behind in school. But after watching Mrs. Swift's speech, my perspective changed. Taking a break from school will give me so much more time to work on music, work, and save money. That will be great. These opportunities started to shift my attitude on the move from never to maybe. My fear of the new and unknown started to dwindle. Music had been a part of my life since preschool, but its significance grew as I grew. I started writing my own music in middle school, commenced giving private piano lessons at 16, began covering songs with my sister at 18, and embarked on leading worship at 19. If Taylor can sacrifice her home and familiarity for her dreams at 15, why can't I now at 20? After obsessively thinking and praying about the move the rest of that week, I finally came to the decision to move with my parents and sister. This was one of the hardest decisions in my life, but 5 years later, I can now say this was one of the best decisions I have ever made. It took about a year for Belvedere to finally feel like home. Trying to sustain a long-distance relationship with my older sister and good friends back in Michigan and adapt to all the change. New friends, new job, new school, and new church was really hard and uncomfortable during the first year. But the difficult changes turned out to be wonderful opportunities and blessings. It's crazy to think about all of the relationships and experiences I would have missed out on if I had simply decided to stay in Michigan. A year after moving to Belvedere, I started dating my husband, Nick. We have been married for almost 2 years now, and I wouldn't trade anything for my sweet Nick. Nick and I have been involved in a church plant, State Line, for almost 3 years. God has convicted and encouraged our faith and given us a community and home through State Line. During the first winter in Illinois, my aunt, who lives in the neighboring town, graciously gave me all of her piano students. Since then, I have built a successful private piano teaching business off of her generosity. It is my favorite job thus far. I had the privilege to earn my bachelor's degree at Northern Illinois University, and now working towards my master's. All of these endeavors, especially at the start, required me to live outside of my comfort zone. The uncomfortable change, homesickness, and loneliness I dealt with in the first year worked together to stretch and grow my character. The fear of change and the unknown that used to handicap me is now almost non-existent. I now feel more equipped to take on new ventures and friendships. Unfamiliarity surrounded me at every corner, so I had no choice but to break out of my shell. I couldn't give in to the fear and insecurities anymore. As Taylor sings in one of her hits, "Baby, I'm just gonna shake, shake, shake it off, shake it off." In order to flourish in my new home, I had to shake off the debilitating fear. I might have not become a big music star, but I learned and grew in a big way. I believe God used the move to help mold me into the person He made me to be.
But I keep cruising, can't stop, won't stop moving. It's like I got this music in my mind saying it's gonna be alright. 'Cause the player's gonna play, 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 play. And the haters gonna hate, 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 baby. I'm just gonna shake, 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 shake.